Welcome along. We are here for round 4 of Tier 2. Here in Baku. And what looks like an extremely wet qualifying. And I've already got a ping somewhere, so I'm thinking there's some very pissed off people. I'm here with Quiet Boy today, our last season champion. And what do you expect from this full wet qualifying around one of the trickiest high-speed tracks to Canada?
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting session because I'm sure people did not expect that it would rain, especially when the circuit like Baku, you're going to have very low winds. So yeah, the drivers are definitely going to have to pull it together in these laps.
I have already been pinged with a what the fuck. I think my weather RNG is absolute hell for all of these drivers. We have Rolfie in the Mercedes, one of the slower qualifiers this season, out for the first lap. So for this session we've got Tunodag is Jack NUFC. He's having issues with his PlayStation account right now, or his Xbox account, whichever platform he usually plays on. Smurf Illegal is Hannes Siebert. One of the reserves that's been there for a while finally decided to race, and we've brought in for this race Yari Spamzel 2 from Tier 1 to just really get everything underway. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Yari does this race, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how Hannes does this race, considering we've not experienced what he's like on track.
Definitely, I mean, like this is going to be very interesting because I'm interested to see who can be quickest in these conditions. I mean, obviously it might dry up, but even if it doesn't, you still would love to see who's got more confidence in these conditions.
Yeah, I mean, Rolfie on this outlap, I don't know if he kept it pinned through there. I want to see how he does over this curb. Doesn't even take it. It's one of the things that when I've been practicing, on that inside curb of the corner that I believe it's Smurf Illegal just going through, I have been cutting a lot of that curb and almost jumping.
Yeah,
across
it's a very curve.
Yeah, there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Shouldn't be anything too bad, just someone slowing up to get the gap for their lap. And Quiet Boy, why don't you take us through this first lap on board with Rolfie, provided he can keep it valid.
Yep. Alright, into turn 1. Brake early enough. And you can already see how tricky it is already to break through that corner. Into turn 2. Keeping it nice and steady. Whoa, hitting the wall though. Not far off.
Yeah, walls are very close around here. Got a bit of traffic ahead. Let's hope that Ferrari does just get out of his way.
Yep. And the next turn, something quite tricky enough, not hit the wall. He's done well. Keep it nice and tidy. And the next corner, you see his car sliding around a bit, but he's keeping it well.
Yeah, already in Sector 1, about 8 seconds off what I'd expect from a fully dry session. And that's before you've dealt with this tricky next section.
Yeah.
Into the Castle Coast.
I'm interested to see how he handles this bit, or how much he'll take and commit to it. Well, he's done well. Keeps it well.
Yeah, you've got to keep it very steady through that section. He gets very wide on exit, manages to keep the lap. He has kept the lap with that wide line because of just how slow he must have gone off track. The aquaplaning already looking a little insane on this full wet tyre.
He's kept it really well through there. I was still surprised like that because I knew he was struggling for it, but he's done well. Keep it going through here.
Already we're looking at more like 20 seconds off the expected dry pace as it comes to the end of the middle sector. Can he keep it pinned through this right and left? He takes a massive break in the right just to keep the car stable. He's going to bring it to the end of the lap, set the first one of the session. Behind him, one of the Ferraris. That is going to be Gaffer. It's at the first lap of the session. It's a 2:03.2.
Yeah, definitely like to think, yep. Second quarter there. Flip me.
Jack NUFC on the intermediate already. That is something to pay attention to. Rudy the player's next across the line with a Red Bull close on his heels. It's a 3-7 for Rudy, a 4-7 for Fozzie's. As I do apologise, but I might be getting ill again. Next across the line, Shano goes up to P2. He's got a Alpine, I believe, in the background. Now that's the Williams and Lucas Spurs. Up to P3. Bluefoot's done well in that middle sector. One of the V-carbs of FaZe Monkey comes across the line. He's P2. Good lap from him. We're going to be watching now. Probably one of the people expected to qualify best. What's the time from Bluefoot as we see Rolfie go P7. Metal goes P3 and Bluefoot finds a couple tenths over Smurf Illegal, but the times will just keep toppling. Billy Wiz P3 on a 39.6. Been one of his worst parts of the season as his qualifying, so it'll be good to see how he can do there. Across the line for for Hotshot Hippo up to P6. As TVN comes across the line to start his first effort. We got one of the McLarens of Yari. As I think I just saw Sam Villa hitting the wall. Coming down. And Gaffo is on a great lap as well. As is XD Tyler on the intermediate for XD Tyler. So some people already going for it. With that into, we've got a Haas parked at turn 3. I think just getting out of the way of other drivers. But Gaffo, the guy who has been dominant in qualifying this season, where can he put his car? After his first effort, it's P3 for him. In the background, we've got XD Tyler, an intermediate run for him. Can only get it to P7 as it stands. Only other driver who hasn't set a lap yet is TVN, and he's gone fastest in Sector 1 according to my screen.
Yeah, I'm very interested with Yari. He went on an out lap and then he came straight back in, so he must think that it's just going to dry up quick enough that he'll not need to set a lap yet. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Yari right now as Shano's just gone up into the 39s. Lucas Spurs into the 59 ones. As we see TVN hit the wall. Yari come in for an intermediate. So I think that's where he's looking, as it's a lot of wall contact for TVN here on his first effort. But you know what? The time does seem to be there. He's about a second up on where XD Tyler was on his lap. So where's this going to put him come the end of this lap? He's got a few cars in front of him. Can he keep it planted? He looked to have kept it really planted through the fast left-right before you get on the throttle all the way down the main straight. The track does look to be drying out as there's big contact. And the Haas...
Oh and my word.
As the V-Carb and Metal pull into the pits, that is Max and Metal coming together as TVN goes P4 after witnessing a huge accident right in front of him. Hannes Siebert's on another lap right now, and he looks to be going strong. Is Shano and Gaffo doing laps? Gaffo's not, Shano is. But where's Hannes going to be come the end of this middle sector? He is 2.4 seconds up as he has a massive slide on the exit. But that 2.4 seconds will easily elevate him to hot pole. How much did he lose? With that, it looks like it's getting closer to winter's conditions though, so will he just abandon? XD Tyler 57.4. Coming out of his lap, he's going to try and steal a little bit of the toe off a slow RB Gaffo on the main straight. A little bit of contact with the wall. Where's Smurf Illegal going to go? It's P1. Great effort from him. Who have we got on laps here? Pumba on the intermediates. 29.9 at the end of middle sector. Got one of the Red Bulls crossing the line. I think that's start lap as Pumba goes into the 56s. Where's Shano going to go? Shano goes P4. As it stands, we've got one of the Williams coming into the pits for the moment. But who else is out there doing anything competitive? Fozzie's might be looking for another lap on that wet tyre. I just don't think it's worth staying out. TVN's certainly not finding the time, so I think the only person really lapping right now is going to be Smurf Illegal if he's even pushing, which he's not. And XD Tyler, who's in that middle sector right now, he's found a 10th in Sector 1. But it's all the time and commitment in that middle sector. In these conditions, you have to gain that confidence, and he is finding it all right up against the track limits, coming through this middle part of the lap in the number 69 Alpine. He's going to come into the brakes here. How hard can he get it on the brakes? Very nicely indeed. Keeps it just out of the wall, and he is going to be finding so much time on this lap. He's up 1.8 seconds on where he was. Can he keep it smooth and clean? He can. Clinical lapping right now. There's a lot of drivers switching to that intermediate tyre. The only one staying out is Smurfle Eagle, Shano and Fozzie's on their first intermediate. But where is this going to put XD Tyler? After what was looking like a great lap, it's not going to put him anywhere. It seems he's backed out of his effort. Shano not finding a competitive effort right now to put himself up anywhere. Jack Newcastle finding time in the first sector though. Rolfie about to come to the end of the first sector. Where's this going to put him? So he's done a 41.3, not fastest by any means, but a good sector regardless. Rudy the Player's next through the first sector. What's he got? It's about the same as his teammates. So lap time's definitely picking up right now. So I think we've got a wild Billy Whiz just starting his lap. Yeah. What's Jack Newcastle doing in this middle sector? Big slide through the tricky left.
Yeah, Yari's gone purple. He's flying out there. I was expecting that.
Yeah.
Final corner. His lap. He's definitely going to go up to the top on this lap. I'm interested by how much.
Yeah, I'm looking at Rolfie, who really clatters the wall on the exit. Yari goes to the top by a second. What's Jack Newcastle able to do as Rolfie's fastest in that middle sector now? Jack Newcastle across the line finds another 6/10 on the drivers around him. Rudy the Player and Rolfie both rapid in that middle sector on their respective efforts. They're going to be the first guys, well, the next two to cross the line on their laps. Rolfie finding the time. Does he have that speed on the final straight? Does he have the battery left? He can't. He only goes P2. Not what he needs, but Rudy the Player as well. Looking on a very decent effort himself. He can't go fastest. He can only go P4 for the time being, as it's one of the Ferraris of Gaffo on the main straight right now. The next driver competitively across the line is going to be Billy Whiz, who's found time in that middle sector, but he's made a mess of it in the final corner. How much time can he find over his wet effort? On a 59.6 right now, he's 4 seconds up. That would have nearly put him on pole if he could find the time in that final sector.
Yep.
But how much speed?
Oh, he hit the wall. Well, flipping. He flew into that wall in the final corner. He couldn't keep it together. He's still going. Still finished this lap, but he just got so much overspeed.
Yeah, Billy Whiz up to second. Baze Monkey only third, with an Aston right behind, I think, starting an effort. Well, I need Max staying in the pits. He's not retired. Hotshot Hippo's on a lap, and I think that's one of the Red Bulls. I can't see the other Red Bull right now. I think my brain's not enjoying it. So Bluefoot pulls into the pits, and then it's one of the Astons. Hotshot Hippo launches up to P5. Good effort from him. Metal getting an incredible tow on the back of the McLaren. Exactly what he needed. He's going to skyrocket to the top by 1.6 seconds over anyone else. Billy Whiz not finding the time on his lap. FaZe Monkey looks to not be on one. Just trying to find anyone who might be pushing on a lap right now. Shano's just about to start one. Lucas Spurs was on one. Can't do anything about it. Gaffo has done a 27.1 at the end of the middle sector. He's 5 seconds up on his current time. If he's found a decent chunk in this final sector, what's he going to do? As the track looks to be really drying out, Quiet Boy. And is this going to be a last run hurrah for some of these drivers? Just whoever can get across the line at the latest. We'll see after Gaffo finishes his lap. Up to P2, fastest middle and final sectors. As TVN on a solid lap as well right now. Shano just starting his. Pumba just starting another one. Yari's 2/10 up in his first sector. FaZe Monkey on an invalid effort right now, probably just thinking of coming into the pits as Billy Wiz does. We're coming to that point now as Sam Villa's improving quite heavily. Will he just come into the pits? He's completely out of battery. TVN jumps up to P3 on a 53.7. This is where the skill gap is really going to come together. Sam Villa, P10. Pumba starting his lap. He's coming to the end of the first sector right now on the track. Has it stopped raining, Quiet Boy? Because I don't think I see any rain.
It has, and I think in this point, I think you won't be boxing for soft because I think it's drying up that quickly. The track looks dry already.
So looking at the tyres, Quiet Boy, we have a Rolfie already committing to a soft, Rudy committing to a soft, XD Tyler thinking of a soft, Lucas Spurs, Fozzies and Max all currently soft. Billy Wiz has switched himself onto a soft. Jack Newcastle has just come out on an Inter. Smurf Illegal is currently out on an Inter. Do they have time left? I can't see over these yellow flags in Sector 3. Anyone who is out on an Inter right now has to commit to doing a great lap on Inter. Metal's not going again. Gaffo can't get in for another Inter. He has just get in for a soft. He has just go for it. Shano 51.6. Track improvement is everything right now. Smurf Illegal just starting a lap. Gaffo, what's he thinking of? He's got a full battery here. He's following my ERS tactics, I can tell you that. So he is going to be going for a final flyer, but the track looks bone dry already. So anyone on an Inter is not in the best spot right now because the track just, there's no spray. DRS is enabled.
That's it. Oh.
Anyone on an Inter, so we've got Smurf Illegal, Pumba, Sam Villa, Yari, Jack Newcastle, TVN, Gaffo and Shano and Bluefoot all completely getting screwed over by their choice of tyre before this final run. And it's going to be interesting now to see what can people do. Gaffo is coming through the first sector right now, trying to push as hard as he can through the Inter. TVN retires in the pits, I believe. Gaffo's a second and a half up on his effort in the first sector, and I think I want to see how much time this guy can find. As let's see where the soft runners is as well. He gets the car nicely into the castle section. The first soft runner across the line is Yari, comes out on a fresh soft with only 30 seconds left. He retires from the session. Our first soft runner is going to be Rolfie. So I think last across the line on the softs is going to be very critical, but they've got to get going. Because there's easy enough of a chance that they just run out of time here when the session expires. There's a lot of people on outlaps on a soft that just need to get their lap in. Gaffo 4 seconds up right now on his lap time. That put him already into the 49s. Let's see who's making it across the line. Shano finds another fast lap. Hannes Siebert goes to the top of the 48.2. Mega lap from him. And Billy Wiz, FaZe Monkey, Hotshot Hippo, XD Tyler, all not able to start laps on their soft tyres. They're all done. And Gaffo goes fastest, 48.0, but there are times that are going to come from absolutely everywhere. Rolfie is 4 seconds up just in the first sector. Pumba goes P3, Rolfie's in the wall in the castle section. Does he have damage? I don't think he has. He's going to be able to keep going. He might be able to get the best lap in. Bluefoot, 46.8. Lap from him. Great lap on the Inters, especially with such a dry track now. Hannes Siebert can go again if he wants to.
Jack NUFC.
Critical.
Line. Will improve. Yes.
Jack NUFC P4. So the two kicks in great position right now. But all the cars behind are on a soft. And Max only coming out now for a soft run. So interesting to see what his pace is, but our first across the line of these soft runners is going to be Rolfie, and then it's going to be Rudy. What time does the Mercedes driver have to finish his lap? He's got DRS, he should have some battery. It's a 44.7 for him. That's the first laps. Next up is his teammate Rudy the Player, who's already 11 seconds up. He's right on where his teammate is in terms of lap time. Does he have the battery? Doesn't look like he does have much. Can he go faster still? It's a second faster. And all of these soft tyre runners coming across the line at the same time. Max goes P2. Lucas Spurs goes top. Fozzies can only go P4. And who else have we got on the lap? Hannah Siebert is going to come across the line as our final driver, and I did not see where he ended up. He ended up P6, I think, just ahead of Shano. So, unfortunately, we are going to have a lobby reset. Because we have a grid penalty for Max after a qualifying incident. And I'm just going to grab our screenshots of these. So, we've got Lucas Spurs on pole, Max P2, Rudy P3, Fozzie's P4, and Rolfie P5. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the race. Welcome back. After a quick lobby reset to get rid of the grid penalties, we're almost ready to get going here in Baku. We know the exact weather forecast for this. It is going to go from fully dry at the start, with lovely sunshine, to a full wet race right at the end. After what the drivers saw, I don't think they're very happy with my dynamic weather setting at this point, because it seems like every race it tries to give them rain. The trials and tribulations that they're going to face here in Baku, starting on the dry and going to the wet, is going to be very difficult. And I think one of the big things, Quiet Boy, is going to be, who's going to be able to take a tide when it starts raining.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's how well can you keep your tire before the rain comes, or when the rain comes, that is, because, well, it could come in the middle of the session at the end. We don't really know exactly, so it just depends who keeps their tires out and who thinks it might actually rain.
And it's about to get underway. Hearing all the beeps from the game, we are going to 5 red lights here in Baku. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a decent start from Lucas Spurs, but it's an even better one, it looked like, from Max in P2. Down to turn 1, it's the 2 Mercedes trying to go wheel to wheel. Rudy the player making contact with Fozzie's in turn 1. Bluefoot's making up a few places and might be able to make up another one here. Shano also up a couple places. One of the kick salvers on the inside of turn 3 compared to Shano. Positions all the way down as XD Tyler, I think, is backwards with FaZe Monkey and Yari, all 3 of them around. Lucas Spurs convincingly leads on lap 1. Bluefoot going round the outside of Rolfie. Can he make it stick? He can. Through turn 3. Can he keep it through turn 4 now? Very much so. And Gaffo, more crucially, down to 14th. Our championship leader is falling away at the start of this race, while Lucas Spurs has had a nice getaway, as has Rudy the player, one of the drivers we've never really seen up the front this season.
Yeah, absolutely chaotic start, and it's all in the background. Gaffo in turn 2 got shoved against the wall, and his car literally flew up in the air, so that's why...
nearly 3 wide into the castle section. There's multiple drivers into the wall. No. Set off by Pumba, they tried to go 3 wide. It's one of the Hasses of Billy Wiz, who got damage from that, as Jack Newcastle has damage, I think, as well as Pumba. I definitely see it on Pumba's car, a little bit less on Jack's. And all these drivers are going to be kicking themselves as Pumba's hard into the wall again, and there's contact with Hotshot Hippo. Hotshot Hippo against Billy Wiz. Gaffo's gained a few places on the inside there. Can he keep it over the curb? He can. Hotshot Hippo and Billy Wiz trying to go 3 wide. There's big contact again. And the chaotic race that we could have only expected from this track is insane as Pumba's in the wall. And that's a virtual safety car coming to the end of lap 1. And by God, are these drivers having a terrifying race right now. Gaffo nearly in the wall with Billy Wiz and one of the Astons. I think that was Samuel Villa. Metal, XD Tyler, Yari Spams pulling into the pits. And honestly, I'm more surprised this is only a virtual safety car at this point. But out in front, it looks like everyone got away fairly cleanly, and then just behind, everything went to chaos as the virtual safety car is released, and Max has gained so much under that virtual safety car. He is going to be all over the back of Lucas Spurs in this middle sector, as for the second time the game is showing us these possible tyre strategies. But honestly, right now, it's not what we need to focus on. Bluefoot in the background as Fozzie's just went backwards on my screen. Nice lag. Max is going to be looking all over the back of Lucas Spurs now. Both of these guys are used to leading some races in this series already and being very competitive. What are they going to be able to do? How much is Rudy going to be able to do? And such a great starting point as TVN and FaZe Monkey swap places just before the castle section. Not a normal place for a move to happen, but certainly an interesting one at that. Both of them flinging their cars over the curbing there. And Rudy already having to go on a little bit of a defensive line in the background against Bluefoot, worried about the overtake already, as Jack Newcastle, I think, with that wing damage, he's missing nearly his entire right side of his wing. Slightly better than Hotshot Hippo's doing. Is struggling, and Bluefoot trying already, looking on the inside, and I think he's made contact with the wall there. Fozzie's gets past his teammate, and it's going to be 2 Red Bulls with DRS on the back of the Mercedes. What are they going to be able to do into turn 1? Fozzies goes to the outside, Bluefoot on the inside, and they just about don't come together. What about on the exit? Looks like a little bit of contact, but nothing major, and which Red Bull's going to come out on top? Looks like it's Fozzies, who's looking a bit laggy. As we've got Jack Newcastle spun around at turn 1, looks like he's just gone around while fighting. Hotshot Hippo, meanwhile, having a battle with Gaffo, and the DRS is deployed on the back of that Aston Martin. What's he going to be able to do down into turn 3? Absolutely nothing, but in the background, MH coming under pressure, and the McLaren from Samuel Villa, who gets through quite nicely. A little bit of wall contact, as we can see by the ghosting, but through clean and happy, as Fozzies has lost 3 seconds on this lap to Max. I think they were only about a second and a half behind, so the time's not looking ideal, as again we've got drivers just clattering the walls around the circuit. I think they're glad that we have the damage set in this league to what we do. It's yellow flag. Rolfie's out in the castle section, I think.
Yeah, he's
see if we can go on board. He's hit the inside wall there, I think. So I think we can get... Oh, okay, thank God that car disappeared. And it's only a virtual safety car again. It's the more interesting thing. Thank the Lord for anyone who's watching that we decided that the game decided to clear up his car so quickly, because that car went to about 10 times its size on my screen at least. Max is going to be trying to do the exact same thing he did under that last virtual safety car. He's going to have DRS no matter what. On this straight, can he just stick close enough to Lucas Spurs? How safe is Lucas being on his Delta? It might be ending right now because the speed is picking up on the main straight. And into turn 1, they are looking like they're nearly flat out now towards turn 1, but just having to slow down a bit. So I can't quite see it going green on my map yet.
No,
still shows virtual safety car, but these two look to be going pretty quickly for what is a virtual safety car. And Max almost hurrying along Lucas Spurs right now. I think I need to pull up the throttle trace just to see. They are going flat out. It doesn't look like they're backing off, and the safety car finally gets released, and Sam Villa and FaZe Monkey both getting penalties under that VSC as Jack Newcastle pulls into the pits. So the two out front judging the Delta perfectly, but still struggles there for Lucas Spurs under the VSC restart, who's just having to really fight to try and keep a position here as Jack Newcastle coming out of the pits loses out to XD Tyler. An unfortunate situation. He looks to be going slow, and I think he's gone off track there. He's still got a full front wing. That's what's going to matter for him. Lucas Spurs I think just hit the wall and managed to pull a lot on Max. I don't know what quite happened to Max.
He's lost a lot of time.
1.3 the gap. Does Max have wing damage? Because he's still losing on this main straight. I can't quite see yet. I know he doesn't.
Bluefoot should get Fozzie here. He should have more power.
And in the background, as Rudy defending aggressively against Hannes Siebert, who opens the DRS finally to get past into turn 1. Rudy does not want to lose his position without a fight. And now, we do have the two Ferraris nose to tail on track now. Is there going to be a little call over the radio to Shano, as Gaffo has made up substantial amounts of time so far this race, to say, hey, can you, give up the position here nice and easily, as I think I heard Rudy or Hannes Siebert hitting the wall on the exit of turn 3. Not ideal for them. And there is the call. So Shano is releasing Gaffo to go on, obviously. In terms of the championship, a changeover of one position isn't going to be too bad for Shano, but Gaffo clearly on more pace at this point in the race. What tyres, which we've not really discussed this race, what tyre is everyone on? The only person who started on a soft is TVN. Everyone else on a medium or a hard right now. Which seemed like the right thing to do, as Hotshot Hippo and Billy Whiz ghosting inside each other. They were that close in the castle section.
I think Rudy might have a bit of damage. He saw 3 seconds to the car in front, and the rides are absolutely all over him. It might be a double passing coming from him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with him now. Look, the rotation looks okay from him. Is he able to keep it flat through this right-left? That'll tell us if he's got damage. He doesn't have damage, it looks like. He's just got no battery. And compared to Gaffo behind, who has 50% battery, there should be no question about the overtake. Turn 1. Yeah, Gaffo gets through. Shano pushed off the track a little bit by Rudy, who doesn't quite let the position go that easily. Big snap for Rudy, who's looking to just defend the inside a bit into there. Can't make anything happen, and surely Gaffo is just going to try and launch as Shano needs to make an attack on Rudy now. We're going to follow along with him, who's on the outside. Gaffo being very courteous to his teammate and breaking that toe on the straight. It's Rudy and Shano side by side into turn 3, and there's contact. Shano lucky to have his front wing still, as Rudy just tries to push him straight into the wall. As there is a yellow flag and Hotshot Hippo's round again. Might have been pushed into that wall at turn 3. He's lost both end plates now, so he is going to have no performance in that middle sector.
Yeah, Shano really hard racing, I would say, but he just wants past him at this point. 2 seconds lost to Gaffo already. That's just no batter.
I'll tell you who might have lost pace a bit here. The top 2 have lost substantially out to both Red Bulls here.
Yeah, they're getting right back in the picture. Got DRS. Yeah, they're coming for them. I don't know, maybe it's due to tires or what it is, but MX has lost the time to them.
Yeah, just trying to get a look on these onboards right now, because that's where I'm really going to get the info from. So I can't see on Smurf Illegal, but I can on the 2 Red Bulls and all of the top 4 really. I can see their tyre temperatures. No one looks to be too down and out on tyre temperatures, so I think it might just be a mid-race management portion right now, as Shano is going to look to get Rudy again and getting squeezed on the straight. Shano is going to be fuming with Rudy as into turn 1 he goes, and hopefully he's finally got that move done. I think the question now is a battery one, as who has more? Shano with pretty much none, Rudy with about the same, so this might just be a quick and easy repass for Rudy. And that's not what Shano needs, who's going to try and hang it down the inside, gets squeezed nearly into the wall. They're going to keep it wheel to wheel. And there they go. Rudy keeping the position
Very
over
surprised.
Shano. This is not what is ideal. And I can tell you the post-race interview from Pumba is just one word. It's the F word. Not very happy with his outcome, as he's quite clearly demonstrated in the Discord chat. Smurf Illegal not able to make many inroads on this lap to that top 4. He stayed about the same distance behind. Is he just trying to reserve some battery maybe? He's on 50-ish%. So only worse than Max at the moment, who has nearly 60. So he's going to get into the DRS here of the 2nd to 4th train. And this could be great if they start battling, which is kind of what Gaffo needs right now, who's dropped back a couple tenths this lap to the driver in front. As Smurf Illegal down the inside of Fozzie's was not expecting the instant go for it from the kick driver, but he quite clearly just makes the move, gets the position. And Fozzie's took a little look on the inside and might actually have a better run out the corner than Hannes here, because a big slide on the back end for that kick Sauber, but nothing coming of it as MH pulls into the pits to make a pit stop, probably off a medium tyre here. And after those first few laps of drama, we've kind of settled down into this race.
Definitely. And Shano, he finally got past Rudy there.
Puts Rudy into the wall. Two wrongs may not make a right, as was discussed on Sunday. And Rudy tries to dive right back down the inside. He's put Shano into the wall, and this has brought Billy Whiz right into the back of it. And Billy Whiz is going up the inside of Shano here. Shano squeezes him tight to that wall. And on the exit, Shano managing to keep the position just about. Does Billy Whiz have the traction, though? That is the question. On the exit, he's still on the inside, but wisely, I think, backs out. Shano massively into the wall, and that might be his wing gone. Which is not really what he needed, and I'm looking on the off-board right now. From Billy Wiz's point of view, he does still have some wing. But not what he needed. He's missing about half his front wing.
And it seems Bluefoot's dropped back out of the RS range of MX, so MX brought the pace back a bit, so that's what he needed. Just keep himself.
I think more importantly though, Hannes, who seemed quick when we started in the wet conditions, someone's very slow in the middle sector. Hannes is going to get P3 now. And that gives him the opportunity to start making moves up into the top 2 now. And interestingly, with Shano having wing damage, Gaffo's still in the box. End of lap 8, and he's coming out on a medium tyre. Shano also into the pits to get a new front wing, so a Ferrari double stack on this lap. Where's Gaffo going to come out? He comes out just in front of Metal. Is he going to be staying in front? He will, and will Metal just leave the Ferrari driver alone? I don't think that's quite the type of driver he is. But actually seems to be being pretty courteous on that straight, just keeping his battery in check and holding everything together.
I must say, Yari, he's obviously in the FA, has not been having the best race. He's fighting for P17 with FaZe Monkey at the moment, but I haven't seen much of him. I don't know whether he got damaged or not at the start, but he's just right at the back.
Shano's out. He's been put into the wall, it looks like, by Jack Newcastle. And it is full safety car. Gaffo with the worst pit stop timing possible. He's not going to lose a place here. But this is definitely the call for anyone, hards or mediums, just to come into the box. So we've got TVN just come out on a fresh soft. FaZe Monkey is on a lap old hard. Yari on 2 lap old hards. I think we're looking at the likes Jack NUFC, XD Tyler, Sam Villa, Metal, and then all of that top 7 are going to be pulling into the pits at the end of this lap. Getting a fresh set of tyres on, because surely their tyres are just about ready to go now. And unfortunately for us, we're not going to get to see any mega attacks on the pit lane. And Fozzies, I see what you're doing, Fozzies. I mean, as long as he doesn't hold up Billy Whiz. If he holds up Billy Whiz, that's where the rules are violated. But right now, he has not held up Billy Whiz. He's just pulling into the pit lane. And he is still well within his right to drive that slowly. And I think Red Bull have just come out with a fresh tyre. So actually, that's worked perfectly for Fozzies. As Gaffo actually has cleared Fozzies. So Gaffo gaining a position magically by boxing a lap early because Fozzies had to slow down so much. MH staying out on his slightly fresher hard. Sam Villa, yeah, it's not been his race. Hotshot Hippo stays out. But then I think we're going to see a lot of these more back-end runners pulling into the box now. Because there's not really any point if you're right at the back of staying out on an older tyre. But Gary does decide, well, late he decides to commit to the pit lane. FaZe Monkey will stay out on TV, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's decided to stay out, and he has. So a couple places to be made up for FaZe Monkey there. And it's kind of disappointing to see FaZe Monkey all the way down in 13th. He had such a good start to the season. And now he's just kind of fallen away from relevance in this race.
I mean, in his head, if he thinks it's going to rain, if the race is long enough for the rain, and he can maybe try and gain more place to get back in points, I think that's what he can only be thinking right now, because it'll be hard enough for him to get through the pack with these people in front.
Yeah, so while we've got this safety car out, and it's obviously not going to come in at the end of this lap, just having a look at the messages that have come in, because a few drivers do like to pause while they're doing their pit stop, or just quickly while they're out on track to send a message and say what happened. Rolfie, he hit the wall and just ended up out. That's kind of what we expected. Just pulled a Lewis Hamilton, tapped that inside wall. He finally leaves the session. Jack Newcastle saying Shano put it into the wall right next to him. I think looking at that fresh medium that was on his car, says that he just did not realise he'd have that grip and just ended up in the wall. And Max apologising to Lucas Spurs about a love tap. Might see if we can get a quick chat with Shano in the middle of the race, because I'm sure he'll have something to say. Let's see if we can pull him in now. As the safety car is out, we've got Yari 15 seconds off the back of the pack as it stands, and a little bit of a gap really back to Sam Villa as it stands, just while we wait for everyone to pull up together. And Jack Newcastle also affirming that he has footage of his crash, to say that he was of Shano's crash to fully let himself off there. Which I think is something he definitely wanted. Still lap 11 now, just waiting and waiting. Yeah, after our third intervention of race neutralization, obviously we had the immediate 2 virtual safety cars, and now with the pack bunched up, we will be looking to maybe go racing at the end of this lap, if not waiting one more. I think Anna Siebert there doing a lot of weaving compared to these other drivers, so maybe expecting the safety car to decide late to come in on this lap. But it doesn't look like it will, so as it stands, we are going to bring Rolfie up to just give us a quick insight as to what happened. Just let me know if the safety car decides to go in at the end of the lap.
No worries.
Alright, welcome in, Rolfie. It's an unfortunate end to your race. Can you just talk to us about what happened?
So I was in a lot of dirty air, and I ended up like basically scraping the wall, and somehow my tire like just dissipated.
Yeah, I mean, you had a really good qualifying actually. How were you feeling after putting it P5, obviously as one of the only drivers to get a soft lap? But how'd that bring your confidence into the race?
Well, it was pretty good, but I was actually supposed to be P4.
Just hold on 1 second, Rolfie. I think I'm seeing TVN on an Inter. And if you were meant to be P4, I am very sorry. You were P5, so you would have been P4 had that grid penalty been applied, but
Oh, did it not get applied?
we only investigate that after the session. So, if anything does happen, it'll be a grid penalty for either of the drivers involved in the next race. But yeah, obviously it's disappointing to end up out after a good qualifying and where the race could have gone. But now I guess it's just your mind focused on next week for the last round before the Christmas break. So what are you thinking about China?
Next week?
So next is China, just before we have a few weeks off for Christmas. So just your thoughts with China and how you think you can perform around there.
Pretty good at that track. It's one of my better tracks. But don't quote me on that.
Sorry, permanently on a live stream VOD now, so obviously now it's DNF, DNF, DNS for you, and now another DNF. So in China, are you looking for some points and just to try and build something into the season?
Probably first place.
Alright, well, we're looking forward to seeing that. Thank you, Rolfie. Well, hopefully not end up talking to you in the middle of the race next race, but we are about to go back green. So thank you for your time. Alright. Nice to hear from Rolfie after his incident today. Looks like he's got his hopes up, and Lucas Spurs has launched off the safety car restart. What's Max going to be able to do? MH and Metal swapping places. So I think that might be a swap back there as Samuel Village, as Hotshot Hippo's dropping down. It looks like there might have been contact in the background. I think I see someone running wide. It's one of the Astons of Sam Villa. And into turn 2 we go. A lot of contact in the midfield. It's some of the two Hasses harassing Rudy the player right now in the background. The big part of this. Max up front looking very close to Lucas Spurs, and Bluefoot looking down the inside of Smurf Illegal. He's managed to keep it held there, as it looks like Billy Wiz has ended up in the wall. It's not what he needed, but Hannes and Bluefoot still wheel to wheel, and Hannes just having to back out there. And Lucas Spurs' tyres look to be so much better already at this critical phase, as we've got battling behind Hotshot Hippo and Rudy the player having a look at each other, with FaZe Monkey finally getting himself into the top 10. Jack Newcastle of the inside of Samuel Villa. It looks like a little bit of wheel banging, but into the castle section they go, and Jack still trying to hang it around the outside. He's in the wall of the castle, and he's made contact with Yari. Ghosted, luckily, to manage to keep himself alive, but that's both end plates gone for Jack Newcastle.
FaZe Monkey's on the wall.
FaZe Monkey in the wall, backwards on that back straight, I think, just managing to reset himself into the right direction, and that's not what he needed. And TVN, because of all these incidents on this lap, has managed to gain some positions, but his Inter's already getting extremely hot. It doesn't look like it's raining yet, at least to me.
No.
I know my settings are a little bit all over the place, but I don't see the rain. I don't see the risk. I understand he was nowhere, but it's not what he needed. XD Tyler and Hotshot Hippo are going to go at it into turn 1. XD Tyler manages to keep that position in the background. Yari trying to take a look at Sam Villa, who's missing half of his front wing. And right at the back, Rudy the player pulls into the pits. FaZe Monkey deciding to stay out on less than half of a front wing at this point. We've got a yellow flag on track. Is that Jack Newcastle in the wall? I think with TVN, who's lost half of his front wing. A lot of instants still going on, and that's one of the Hasses in the wall. Hotshot Hippo and Sam Villa, both of them, and it's a VSC out in the session, and Sam Villa retires on track. It's not what he needed in this race, but the virtual safety car, for the third time this race, is called upon to just neutralise while we get rid of more cars that are dinged and damaged. Rudy the player pulled into the pits for Inters, so I'm still not seeing this rain, but this might actually be really good for TVN. Just get some cool in his tyres. I just need to see it start to rain, because I don't see these Inter strategies working until the rain goes, and I'm just sitting on board under this VSC with Lucas Spurs, who's nearly recovered all his battery, thankfully, under this VSC. I'm just trying to wait to see the first droplets coming down, because this intergamble seems way too early.
Yeah, it really is.
No,
I mean, it is getting darker in the weather, but there's no sign of rain at all yet, so that's just too early still.
Yeah, Nathan has managed to get into the lobby somehow.
Purposely crashed into the wall.
Who just crashed into the wall?
Rudy.
Rudy in the wall.
He's lost it.
Rudy might have just lost it in that corner. No front wing. And DRS is enabled, and we are green again. And Mac, everyone has made up places. Rudy out of the session on tracks. That's 2 investigations that will definitely be coming after the race for on-track retirements. But now, what can Max do? Everyone with a full battery, but someone needs to try and make a move in this mid-pack, and no one's going to be able to do it. The gap has opened up a little bit further back, and this could give Yari a chance on Metal. Needs to try and find a move as TVN has pulled into the pits. That Inter's gamble not working for him. Mercedes a double DNF yet again in this race. It's not what they needed. and TVN actually putting on another Inter. And
That's very surprising.
yeah, so trying to keep this gamble going, even though the gamble hasn't really been working for him. Shano has messaged me. I have no words, my friend. You know what, Mercedes have done quite well. You know, they've got a few points.
It's rain. It's starting to rain. It is starting to rain.
So typically with the rain, I remember Japan last season for Tier 1 quite well. You'll remember that. That was a P2 that day for you.
Yes.
How long we could hang it out when the rain started. You know, the tyres were still there with us. So how long is it going to be before this rain gets heavy enough? It already looks like some pretty decent droplets, even from the off-board camera. Who's just going to dive in and say, screw it? I think what we need to see is TVN's pace at the Mac. That's kind of going to be it, as Hannes actually getting overtaken by Gaffo there. They're going wheel-to-wheel into turn 1. As the rain starts, the grip is going to be changing all the time. Hannes looking down the inside. Can Gaffo hang it around the outside? He can, and there was a little bit of contact. I don't think there's going to be anything with that, but Hannes is dropping another place maybe. But the conditions already looking tricky for some of these drivers.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of sliding already. Billy Wiz. Yeah, Billy Wiz gaining some places. Hotshot Hippo, Jack Newcastle, and FaZe Monkey all in to try and take that gamble. I mean, the pace, at least for TVN, out of that final corner, he gained 3/10 on FaZe Monkey just out of the final corner. If that's wing damage or if that's tyre performance, I don't know, but all of these guys going on to a fresh tyre, and I'm looking on board with Lucas Spurs, and they look to have had the correct call there. So we're going to see everyone diving for the pit lane at the end of this lap. So we're going to see now how well can these guys keep it on track. Rudy left the session. Not surprisingly, out of the race now. Who's going to be able to hold on to it the best with these changeable conditions? It's not a great exit for Fozzies, and surely not in mixed conditions on slick. Surely you're not going for an overtake into this corner, Hannes. What are your thoughts on this? He's going and taking a look up the inside. Can't make it happen, but Fozzies is in the wall. Hannes is round. He's nearly in the wall twice on traction. Can't hold it together. The guys behind look to be doing fine on their tyres. There's Yari sliding his way through the corner. There's a bit of front wing or something off the racing line. And then we've got all the guys already on Inters. So, who is not going to dive in? I don't think Fozzies can dive in. He's going to lose so much time. DRS is disabled though. Top 3, all in. Gaffo coming in. Fozzies has decided to come in, it looks like. And the Hannes, oh, he was so wide. Is he going to go for a move into the pit lane? What a move from Hannes. He gets it slowed down. Clears the Red Bull driver. In the pit lane. In the pit entry. I've never seen anything like that. And now it's who's got the best wet setup on their car for the next 9 or 10 laps. We're going to see a racing and who's managed to gain.
Might come through and gain so much. Yeah, he will come out in P6 at least. That's very good undercut from him.
Yeah, getting that into tyre on 1 lap earlier has really helped. Hotshot Hippo is P10. As it stands, a few drivers just pulling into the pits even though they were on the Inter. But now it's going to be interesting because it's wet now. We already saw so much carnage, so many incidents of just people struggling previously in the dry to keep it together. So this wet condition, it can be a killer and a saviour at the same time. As I'm going to take a quick look at what's going on. Sam Villa saying his wheel's disconnecting again. And Shano already giving Rudy the player a telling off in the chats. But how committed are these drivers now? And if this is how dark it is, I don't want to really say anything, but I think it might just get worse. This might be the best of it for these drivers. So everyone now on an Inter of relatively similar age. Got Gaffo picking up the only points for Ferrari right now. There's a yellow flag in the castle section. TVN's hit the wall. Lost a bit of his front wing. Nothing major. But now, down the main straight, no DRS is going to make overtaking a bit harder, but that's not going to stop Bluefoot from trying it. And into turn 1. Bluefoot looking on the outside of Max, and into the wall for Max! Bluefoot in the wall as well. Max resets to the track, and Gaffo's up to P3. That's going to be looked into. You're not allowed to reset to track, Max. Up to P4 for Smurf. Illegal for Hannes. And now Gaffo right on the back of Max. One of the drivers who doesn't seem to respect Gaffo too much in the Discord starts calling him by his real name. But as it stands right now, even with Max beating Gaffo, Gaffo will lead the championship unless something drastic happens. Still coming out of this race. Got a yellow flag. TVN rightfully pulls into the pits and retires from the session. Good on you, TVN. The only one I've seen do it so far this race. So no safety car for TVN. I think maybe not, thankfully, at this point, because the field spread is incredible. Looking at how our substitutes are doing for this race. We've got Smurf Illegal. He's P4. Done a great job substituting for the unfortunately banned Is That Me. MH is P7 as a driver who has just decided to reserve this season but been very eager to keep driving. And unfortunately for Yari, not able to make the impact he wanted. Jack in the wall at Castle section. He's lost his whole front wing there, I think. He's lost half of it. So again, but Lucas Spurs actually. No, I think we've got to talk about him. He's not lost the lead once this race. He started on pole and has just driven. And we knew he was rapid.
Definitely. He's just kept it together, even when safety cars or safety cars, he just kept on having the lead. He just kept it under control. He's done it perfectly.
Bluefoot in the pits. So what is Bluefoot doing? We're on board right now into the pit lane. The weather looks rancid right now. And that is a fresh inter. He's just getting a new front wing. So deciding to sacrifice a new front wing. Jack Newcastle on the wall twice in the final sector there. Managed to keep it alive. Hits the wall again and again. He almost looks like he's trying to retire himself there. Don't think he realises that, on board with him right now. 10 seconds into the pits. Yeah, he's retiring from this race. As the guy that said he would finally score points in Formula Aero. He would finally do something this season that wasn't a DNF. But luckily on track we do have one Kick Sauber driver who might finally give Jack Newcastle's teammate a name with points. It's been a rough season for anyone who's been alongside Jack Newcastle because they've just kind of not scored points no matter what happens. So medal in the castle section as we see I think that's MH just in front of him, tapping the wall a little bit, but everyone keeping it relatively clean and calm right now. I think just trying to get these tyres through, but I don't know about you, Quiet Boy, it looks a lot more wet out there to me.
It does. I think the conditions are just going to get worse and worse, but I don't think anyone's going to want to box for like a full set of wets. I think they'll just want to go to the end no matter what, even if they're not on the right tires, because there's only 6 laps to go. So yeah, but it won't get better from here. Definitely not. Yeah.
Yellow in sector 3. I think that's Fozzie's. No, that's
Lisa?
What's that, Fozzie's? I think it's Fozzie's. He's hit the wall. He's lost a lot of his front wing. Gaffo in turn 1 though, right on the back of Max as it stands.
Fozzie's lost all his wing. I didn't break in time. He's lost the whole.
That's not what he needs. He's surely going to pull into the pits now. And it might be a retirement or it might be a full wet because the conditions are looking terrible out there right now. Just going on board with Gaffo. His tyres staying quite nicely. Fozzie's 10 seconds in the pits. That's a retirement.
Yeah.
I think coming his way. But not what he needed this race. And Max actually sliding a lot in P2 right now. I do kind of wonder what his tyres are looking like. They're actually a bit colder than Gaffo's, and then Lucas Spurs again keeping his tyres in even better condition. But this is allowing Hannes to just slowly close back in to these two in front of them. Is he going to be able to go for a P2 in that kick Sauber today? He's getting perilously close to the wall and having a lot of issues on the traction. So I don't know quite how far he's going to get if he keeps sliding his car through the corners like that. I can tell you I don't know his tyre temperatures because I've got my already sweaty camera settings for kick Sauber when I race here on Wednesday. But looking a little bit further down, Tyler, MH and Metal Metal could be in a great scrap here for P5. Not great points for all of them really. I think Metal Metal and Tyler need to find their grooves a little bit. And obviously MH subbing in this race wouldn't hurt him either, you know. He's finished P6 before, he's P6 right now as it stands in the standings. XD Tyler needs a points finish this race, but Gaffo needs Hannes to not get past him here, and that's not going to happen. Hannes straight through on Gaffo. Does he have that grip on the inside to keep it ahead? He looks to just about, but Gaffo hangs it round the outside. Does he keep it out of the wall? Looks like it, and Gaffo doing a great job to keep that position as Metal Metal and MH are wheel to wheel into turn one, and Metal Metal nearly putting him in the wall. But Gaffo again just back under pressure from Hannes, and they're both actually again nearly on identical levels of battery, but both identically low on battery. So I think these two definitely need lessons on how to manage your battery in F125. But looking back a little bit, Billy Wiz on the back of Yari. Looks like he's got some good pace in that car. I can't quite see if Yari's got damage. Looks like he's still fully fine. Fozzies is just sticking it out at the back there on another fresh Inter. I mean, into the wall a little bit again there. The two Red Bulls just not having the race that they would have wanted. I think that's come for a lot of people. You know, Shano disappointed that he's out. He's also very disappointed in himself for being out of this race, you know. Yeah. The likes of Rolfie and Rudy, who started so well, were in such a great spot off the go, just haven't been able to convert that into points. You know, points that Mercedes desperately need in their Constructors' Challenge right now. You know, they've got 10 points on the board, Mercedes, and since that they had a DNF and a DNF, and then a 12th and a 16th when we went to Abu Dhabi last week. And once again, Hannes on the back of Gaffo. Gaffo trying to keep some battery in, so this is going to be the move for Hannes again into turn one. How's this going to go between them? He's still tight on the inside there. Gaffo squeezing him into the inside, and just no traction on that exit for the kick Sauber driver to really make anything happen. What this is doing is helping Max just realise he doesn't need to do too much. Hannes scraping the wall on the exit there, just trying to get some traction from pretty much nowhere as Gaffo just tries to burn the rest of his battery and keep the kick Sauber driver behind him. A P3 is perfect for him in this race. But the field is spreading out a little bit, as I think I just heard Hotshot Hippo grinding the wall on the exit of turn one. He needs, and Bluefoot is back into the top 10 now. Ready to chase after Billy Wiz and maybe just score a couple points this race on a race that's not been his to really score points in. And I think, you know, a lot of drivers struggling around this circuit, going back to a more traditional track next week, is going to be really good for a lot of these drivers. I know Gaffo's great around normal racetracks. You know, you expect pace from Bluefoot, you know, from the likes of Fozzie's, FaZe Monkey, you know, and they've just not been able to show it because this track is just so restrictive. There's not many freedoms you can take on lines. And I think the biggest freedom you can take is into this corner, and the most freedom I'm seeing into there is Hannes just taking a little nibble of that inside curb instead of launching it fully. Do want to go back a little bit, see, big attempt to the hop for Metal Metal. And I think while I just wait, Billy Wiz picks up a 3-second time penalty on the exit there, on the exit of the castle section. But we're going to look back to the front, because once again it's Hannes versus Gaffo. Gaffo on 30% and not burning. Hannes burning everything he's got on Gaffo towards the end of the straight. Just using a little bit of that battery in defence into turn 1. Goes Hannes on the inside again. It's not worked for him in the past. And the traction just again not supporting his attempts at this overtake. Stays out of the dirty air a bit in turn 2. Can't quite launch it across that curb, but he is going to be right on the back of Gaffo. Struggling on the traction again, sending him across the track. Metal and MH are going wheel to wheel into turn 2, and they stay wheel to wheel on the exit. Hannes is on the inside of Gaffo. A little bit of contact with the wall. Nothing coming of it. What's MH going to be able to do on Metal? As Metal just burns a tiny amount of battery, MH is going to get back up the inside and maybe try and get a charge if Metal can't get the switchback. He's trying to look. He's going for another switchback on the exit of turn 4. Is he going to take the position? He switches to the inside and nothing quite coming of it for the Haas driver. But he is looking everywhere right now. He's got some pace over MH, who does look to be missing a bit of his front wing maybe. And that potentially causing the woes for Metal in the background. Meanwhile, up front, we've once again got Hannes all over the back of Gaffo. Big snaps on corner exit, but he's managing to get that traction going. These tyres starting to struggle quite heavily. Hannes again just nibbling the inside curb. Gaffo, big hit on the wall. On the exit of the trickiest corner, I'd say, on the track. And out of the final braking zone, truly. Hannes can't quite get his traction sorted once again. Who's going to burn the more battery? Both of them quite stable on their battery amounts. Gaffo starting to burn, and Hannes. So it's going to be a straight drag battle now. Into turn 1. Who has the least drag on their car? It looks like Hannes. And is he going to be able to make it work this lap? He needs to find a way through. He is wheel to wheel. He's slightly ahead. Can he outbrake Gaffo into turn 1? Not quite, and Gaffo going very wide and nearly in the wall. They're still wheel to wheel. Turn 2 now. Hannes on the inside, Gaffo on the outside. And this battle is raging on. Out in front. And more crucially though, Max has now got a 3-second gap to Gaffo, so Hannes here really helping Max and Lucas Spurs just run away with this race. And if he can get a position, and if Hannes can get the position, it's a big wall grind again from Hannes, who just can't keep his car out of the walls on these exits, it seems. Just starting to really show what he could do if he had a full-time seat in this tier. Bluefoot in the pit lane decides that his race is over, and I don't blame him. He's quite far back there. So coming on to the final couple of laps now. Once Lucas crosses the line, it'll be 2 to go in what has been admittedly a thrilling race around Baku, and Hannes is not going to relent until the end of the final lap against Gaffo here, I don't think. He's very early, right on the back of Gaffo, trying to take a much nicer line as Gaffo taps the wall again on that exit. Coming through now, getting ready to start this penultimate lap now. The 2 Red Bulls, one of them retired, admittedly, actually in tandem on the track in what is P12 and 13, unfortunately. Hannes looking a lot closer on this lap though, and just needs to make this move and make it stick, because he's just been fighting tooth and nail every lap. He's wheel to wheel. He looks to be just ahead before the braking zone. Gaffo is going to hang it around the outside again, and just over the curb. He's struggling to keep it out the wall in that corner, and it's still wheel to wheel in turn 2. They keep it clean. These guys are great, and Hannes has had a massive snap on the exit. That's all the time gone, and he's got to try and close back in, because next is the final lap of this race. MH in the background is all over the back of Metal, who've got a poor exit from turn 2 into turn 3. MH should be able to cleanly make this move. Not much battery for Metal, more for MH. Down the inside goes MH. Can he keep it out the wall on the exit? He does grind into the wall, and that is the position lost for the McLaren drivers. I think we are definitely at that full wet condition now. It is
Definitely.
absolutely tipping down, and Fozzie's actually is on a full wet right now. And just trying to see if he's making any progress. Not really. He's kind of staying about equal, if not gaining a tiny amount on FaZe Monkey. Out of corners, so... yeah, definitely the right choice from these guys in front. Just to keep their gamble, and Hannes is now right with Gaffo again. He is closing. How much battery has he used on this lap? Not really any. How much battery does Gaffo have there? About equal as it has been for a lot of this stint. And both this time, they're not equally poor on the battery levels. So this, as we come on to the final lap, Lucas Spurs leading. But the battle to watch here is the battle for that last podium place. A much better exit for Hannes from the final braking zone of the lap. Just trying to now hold it through the left-right flick of a chicane before you're pinned down for the next almost a kilometre down the main straight. Hannes to the inside. He's going to ride on board. Can he pull ahead? He's pulling ahead. He's pulling ahead by a lot more. Into turn one. On the brakes. Can he keep the position? He can't. It's wide for Hannes. Gaffo trying to get through on the inside. Can't quite do it. Are they going to be able to hang it wheel to wheel? Through this next right-hander. Gaffo nearly puts Hannes in the wall. And the battling fierce, and Hannes has lost 7/10 on that exit. And that might be game over for Hannes. And Max has closed the gap by about 1.5 seconds in the last few laps. But for him it's looking almost too little too late, as the only battle on the track really has been resolved at this point. Fozzie's on the wet tyre gaining a little bit, but quite honestly not gaining enough to really make his mark in this race. But it's now, as we come on to the final part of this lap, it has been a race to remember for Lucas Spurs. He has driven what I can only say is a flawless race. We're going to keep an eye on the timings just until we get towards the line, because I think we're going to have a photo finish in the background. But nothing to photograph here. It has been a clean and a well executed drive from the Williams driver, who has shown that he has pace. A Smurf illegal gets Gaffo, hits the wall, and that might be major wing damage for the kick. But we're going to go right back to the front, I think, in a moment. On the exit, Smurf illegal able to make it stick for now. But Lucas Spurs has executed it perfectly. He's had the pace previously in Formula Aero. But finally, after 2 third places, he's going to cross the line. And it's win number 1 for Lucas Spurs. It's P2 for Max. And in the background, what can Gaffo do? Is he going to get past Hannes? Not quite. It's only P4 for Gaffo. The kick finally gets the podium. But will that instant be investigated? P5 for XD Tyler. He's driven well. Metal 6th and MH 7th with some wing damage. Got Hotshot Hippo kind of lonely right now. You know, 10 seconds off MH. 7 seconds in front of Billy Wiz. He crossed the line into the wall for P8. And through the gloom of this incredibly torrential rain, Billy Wiz fully out across the line. Lovely work, Billy, to finish 9th. It's 10th for Yari. FaZe Monkey is going to try and repeat Billy Wiz here. Can't do it as well. He's P11 for what can only be said is an admittedly terrible race for him. No points for him today. And Fozzie's about 48 seconds back, so we will keep watching the leader here as everything starts to come through. We've got conversations coming in already, but it is GG's to Lucas Spurs. He has won here in Baku, as I'm going to see if either of the top 3 want to come in for a chat. And Lucas Spurs can only be happy about this. It's an execution masterclass for the Williams driver. All I can say is we've got Rudy is an effing terrorist from Billy Wizard. Unbelievable. from these guys. And I think overall, despite what has been maybe not the cleanest race, it has been a brilliantly executed race by everyone involved and everyone who did manage to survive what was a difficult race. And funnily enough, obviously a track that's very easy to prevent this at. But we also have barely anyone, no one that finished at least, with a track, oh, a couple that finished, Billy Wiz and FaZe Monkey with track limits penalties. But only 2 people in the 3 people in the entire race got a penalty, which is incredible, at least on the corner cutting standards. And we will be back shortly to potentially have an interview with one of our top 3. And that is going to be it for today's stream. It's been a great race, and we're going to be back again next week for the final race before we have a break for Christmas. We'll be at China, and Gaffo will see you all on Wednesday, as Tier 1 is hopefully not going to be chaotic. So we will see you all in a week for FA2, and see you.